early on, even when we went to marriage retreat, Ron had been feeling sick for a while, and there was just some frustration almost in our relationship because he was going to the doctor, but there was never really, it was always just take this antibiotic. There was never any real conclusion, and then he started to withdraw. His personality almost seemed to change because he felt so bad, and it was a strain on our relationship. And when I looked back, I can remember the little notebook that we had for marriage retreat, and when we both wrote about struggling with whatever was going on with the illness. And so I think almost on May 23rd, when we went to Nashville that day, and we finally knew what we were facing, there was almost a sense of peace from God that day, that we knew that there was a mountain to climb, but at least we knew what we were facing. And we knew that God was with us, and we felt His presence that entire day.
I was so relieved to find out that what was wrong with me, because I thought I was going crazy, to be honest. I lost weight, couldn't eat, I couldn't open my mouth, I couldn't stay at work, I was afraid I was going to get fired. When I found out, I can remember just being shocked, but being relieved and knowing that God was going to take care of me. That meant I knew that God wasn't done with me. I just felt that presence of God saying, you're not done. I'm not done with you. You're going to use this as a testimony. After the first chemo treatment, maybe a week after the first chemo treatment, I felt like 100 times better. My father-in-law, and I can't say enough about Pam and my father-in-law, Mel himself. They were both there for me, and he would take me up to the doctor, and I would sleep because I was so tired. I just remember being so tired, and I would sleep going up to the hospital. And Pam can tell you, I snored awful. Run people out of the house snored when I was sick. And we were driving up to Nashville, and I was sleeping like normal. We were driving along, and he realized I wasn't snoring anymore. And my snoring was, I might have done a little bit, but not like. So God had already shrunk that tumor after the first treatment enough to where I could finally breathe and open my mouth to eat. I couldn't eat a Crystal burger, before when I did chemo. I was able to open my mouth to eat my first cheeseburger. But every time I went to the doctor, it seemed like God was there amazing the doctors of how good my progress is going to be. And they were just amazed. We can't believe it. And they're still saying, we can't believe it. And most of the side effects that they scare you with side effects. I may have had a couple side effects from the whole deal, dry mouth and a little bit of nausea. Not nearly what they thought it was going to be. And of course they said after radiation, you'll swell up, your neck will be big. It's never swollen up. And it's not because I'm some superhuman. God has blessed me. He's chose to bless me. And I can't explain why. Other people have symptoms and side effects, and I didn't have a lot. And I'm not saying I'm more holier than the person who does, but God has chosen to bless me beyond measure through this whole thing. And there's smart doctors at Vanderbilt, and when God can leave a smart doctor that works at Vanderbilt just flipped upside down because they can't believe how good you're doing, that's pretty powerful. That's pretty powerful stuff, because you're talking about some of the best doctors in the world, and they can't even figure it out.
Isn't it amazing that the God of this universe, who created all these things and all these people, and who created everything, is mindful of me?
He knows.
In that moment, He was mindful of me. That He said, "Is that?" I said, "Yes, that is an amazing God. That He knows me and speaks to me."
In the scripture, and I don't know where it's all things are possible with God's scripture. That was kind of the scripture I clung to, because I've always been in church. Jeff knows that I never miss a Sunday. But until you go through something like that, that scripture doesn't take hold until a life-changing thing comes upon you and you're like, okay, now I understand, you know, all things are possible.
Well, the one thing that's been important to me is the peace that God can give you in a time of struggle. Yeah, it was just amazing peace that He brought to us. I'm not going to say that we weren't anxious about some things, but you know, when you cast your care upon Him, He is faithful and He is there and He was with us.
I was scared to death. Sometimes I didn't show it, but I really needed, like she said, I needed God's peace at times. And I most of the time I didn't tell them. I didn't want to sound like a whiner, you know. But I didn't know. You know, I knew everything was going well. But like I said, God sent His peace to me in ways where, you know, He didn't vocally tell me, oh, you're going to be okay. But inside I knew, you know, God provided me with a great family support, with Pam and her dad and her mom, you know, my parents, but a church family that I can't even begin to thank for all the things they did, but more than just the monetary stuff, just the words of encouragement, like she said, the prayers and the, you know, just the show of love that our congregation and our community in a whole has. And I, you know, and every person that came up and said that, you know, whatever you need. Sometimes you're like, oh yeah, right. I felt that, that in their heart they meant that, whatever I needed. You know, if I needed a ride to Nashville, they would be there to get me. So,
We
you
needed
know,
someone to pick Walton up from school.
you know, just hold on, you know, but trust God, because He will get you through it one way or another. And I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, because it wasn't easy, but it was easier, just because I put absolutely all my faith in God.
And, you know, we hear the words pray without ceasing, just to have Him in your thoughts and to know that even when you don't even know how to pray or what to pray, that He is there and He will give you the courage and the strength that you need to get up and face the day. And it's just amazing what He will do if we'll just allow Him, if we'll just give it to Him. And to do that daily, it was an everyday thing that we had to get up every morning and even in the evening, I mean, all day. You just have to trust Him, and it's hard, but
Don't let the devil steal your joy in that situation. When I was at the Hope Lodge, I saw both ends. I saw people that were, I tried to stay positive even when I didn't feel good, because if you try to stay positive, you'll feel better. I saw people that complained and they moped around, and they were just sick. They were just sicker than they needed to be. But trying to stay positive shows that you're a Christian to other people without you even having to say anything. They just know that there's something different, because they're going through what you're going through, and they're like, how can that guy be? I feel like junk, but I know he feels like me. How's he running around? But like I said, you can strike up opportunities to witness to people, because they'll come up to you and ask you, and then you can say, God's my master. That's where I get my strength. You don't have to preach to them. But you preach to them by your actions and how you live your life. If you live your life with God's joy, it speaks for itself.